All right, let's get right into it. We're going to dive into this incredible story of personal transformation. It's all about how something as cosmic as a blood moon eclipse can trigger this profound change, this real alchemy within a person.
I mean, just think about that line for a second. A ghost haunting his own hallway. Wow, that just perfectly captures where our main character, Thabo Malala, is at. It's that awful feeling of being totally disconnected, like you're just a spectator in your own life. And I think a lot of us can relate to that feeling, right? Like you're waiting for the main event to start, but the show's already been called off.
So, okay, this first part really paints the picture for us. We get to meet Tabo, and he's living this life that's described as being in the subjunctive mood. And what does that mean? It means his whole world is built on could haves and should haves. And this is where it gets really interesting, because you can see the conflict laid out so clearly. On one side, you've got his reality, this desert of spreadsheets, these polite but empty relationships, and this huge, heavy burden of being the perfect golden son. But then, look at the other side. That's his potential. The hands of a sculptor, the unpoured wine. Basically, the artist inside him, the man with a real passion, his true self. He's literally carrying the weight of his parents' unlived dreams, and he's never, ever dared to chase his own.
Okay, so something had to give, right? And this is where things really start to shift. It all kicks off with a visit to an astrologer, and she gives him this incredibly mysterious prophecy, and it's all tied to a blood moon that's just around the corner.
And this line right here, this is everything. Fate is not a predator. It is a mirror. I mean, that completely reframes the whole idea of fate, doesn't it? It's not some big, scary thing out there hunting you down. Nope. It's just a reflection of what's going on inside you, all the stories you tell yourself, all the baggage you're carrying. Which means, and this is the key, any real change has to start from the inside out. So the astrologer brings up this idea of the South Node. And the best way to think about it is like a cosmic pressure release valve for your soul. It's this moment, this opportunity to finally let go of all those old stories, that karmic tale you've been dragging around forever. The stuff that's been holding you back from actually, truly living. And that leads us right here to the climax of the whole story, the Crimson Reckoning, the eclipse itself. And this isn't just about watching something cool in the sky. No, this is presented as something much deeper, like a kind of profound spiritual surgery. And you can just feel the tension ratchet up. First, the umbra, the Earth's shadow, starts to appear. It looks like a bruise spreading across the moon. And as that's happening, Thabo's own internal journey is getting more and more intense. And then, the moon doesn't just go dark, it transforms. It starts glowing this deep, coppery, almost blood-red color. And it's a perfect mirror for the raw, unavoidable truth that's about to surface inside of him. So, at the absolute peak of the eclipse, with that blood moon just hanging there in the sky, something inside Thabo just shatters. His whole perspective breaks. He starts looking back at all the so-called bad luck he's had his whole life, and he's forced to ask himself this one huge question. And here's what he realizes. That promotion he lost, the engine that just died on his way to a huge interview, even the partner who left him, none of it was random bad luck. He suddenly sees that each and every one of these events was actually the universe intervening. It was like it was actively, almost aggressively, pruning away the branches of a life that was never ever meant to be his. And right then, in that critical moment, the astrologer's words come rushing back to him. This isn't about just, neatly turning a page and closing a chapter with a pen. No way. He gets it now. Real, deep, lasting change, it's a much more violent, purifying process. It's about burning it all down, burning away the old you to make space for the person you're finally ready to become. So as the moon starts to return to normal, the entire tone just shifts. That intense, almost brutal reckoning fades away, and what's left is this incredibly calm, quiet clarity. It's a new beginning, literally rising from the ashes of his old life. And I just love how the change inside him is described. That hollow ache he's carried for years, it doesn't just magically disappear. Instead, its frequency changes. It transforms from this painful, empty void into a low, steady hum, a vibration of pure readiness and potential. And you can see this new perspective take root in the most tangible way. Think about those dusty canvases he had stashed away. Before, they were just monuments to his failure, right? But now, He looks at them, and all he sees is raw material. They're just waiting for him to finally begin. So the big question is, where does he go from here? I mean, an epiphany is great, but what happens next? Well, this final section is all about that. The 6-month horizon, the real-world integration of this huge new understanding into his everyday life.
Because the astrologer was clear about this. The change wasn't going to be instant. It's a 6-month process. So that incredible moment of clarity during the eclipse, that was just the starting pistol firing. It wasn't the finish line. The real work, the hard work of actually taking apart the old life and building the new one, that's only just beginning.
And then there's this simple, really powerful moment where Thabo just happens to catch his own reflection. And for the first time in what feels like a lifetime, he doesn't see a stranger. He doesn't see a failure. He just sees a beginning. He sees someone who is finally on the verge of becoming. And really, this is what it all boils down to. This is the big takeaway. After all those years of living for other people, carrying the weight of their dreams, the eclipse just burned away every last excuse. In the end, this whole celestial event, this crimson tide, it wasn't about finding some new grand fate. It was about finally, having the courage to take the one thing that had been his all along, himself.